Good morning, Flosstube. It's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I want to welcome everyone to my channel today. I'm very glad that you stopped by for a visit. This past week, I've had 2 new starts. I have a tiny bit of haul, and I have a piece that I'm in the process of fully finishing that I want to share with you. Also, I have a prior fully finished framed item that I want to share. So I'm having breakfast this morning, and my thoughts are on my oldest daughter, Jordan, who is pregnant with a baby girl that is due in September. She decided this week to name the baby Evelyn, and the name Evelyn means wished for child. And this baby was very much wished for, prayed for, and is loved so much already by the family. The whole family's so excited. But it brought me back to my baby Jordan. When she was little, I stitched a piece for her, and through her childhood, it was hanging in her room. And she's never taken it from this house to her own. This week, she was sharing with me all the plans for baby's room, and she will be painting her room a light lavender, light purple. I was thinking of Jordan's piece. It's still here. I take it out this morning after breakfast. I dusted it off, and I thought I'd share it with you. It's memorabilia. I believe it's called Rose Arbor. And it's finished. Oops, I'm getting every light source in the room in it. But it's finished in an antique gold frame and an antique gold fillet, as well as the mat is a velvet purple mat. I think the colors will go really well. And since last weekend we had to put off our Easter dinner, I decided since everyone's coming over tomorrow, I'd have that one cleaned up and ready for Jordan to take home with her. She's probably forgotten about it, not on purpose, but life. And I think it'll work wonderful. We are already affectionately calling the baby Evie, little Evie. So little Evie, I think this will go good in her room, as well as the one I finished last week, Alphabet Zoo. At some point, I will stitch another memorabilia. Even though I love samplers now, I still love the beautiful pieces from Nora Corbett of memorabilia, and I have several. So eventually I will stitch one for little Evie too. So other than this piece, what I've been working on this week is Reflecs de Soie. This is a piece that I'm stitching with my friend Kristine. We did a color conversion to red on a trip to Stitch and Frame a couple of weekends ago, and I got to stitching on it. I picked it up last Sunday. I made 2 starts on Sunday and have been stitching on this one in the evening after work, and the other one a few minutes during the work day when I go to lunch. So this again is Reflecs de Soie. There's the name. I got online and followed the hashtag on Instagram to see if anyone else had stitched it, and of course they have. And I really wanted to examine the play of colors. There's only 5 colors, one of them being white. I changed mine to ecru, but I wanted to see how they played together, compare mine to that, because there's so little stitched on it. I didn't want to get halfway in and be dissatisfied with the color choices. So let me share with you my progress. Now I started in the center and I'm working down. So I started right smack dab in this tiny circle, and then there is a border around that circle, another border around it, and then the final border. And the outer borders all have the 2 darkest colors in a vine and leaves around that center flower motif. So all week long, all but last night, I didn't stitch last night on this piece, but Kristine and I have been comparing the colors, discussing possible color changes, that kind of thing. So it's given us a reason to talk throughout the night, which has been great, or night through the week. And I want to share with you my small start. So here you go. Now, as I said, there's only 5 colors, and one of them is the ecru. This piece has 2 dark reds, and it has one of the main colors, which is my choice, was the 352. Now, 352 is also the orangey peachy color that's there in that leaf beneath that circle. But if you look, the 2 colors look different. So the inside full coverage circle, the center peachy color is 352 as well as this one, but because this one is bordered by those darker colors and this one is bordered by light, those outer colors, those outer borders affect the way that the color pops. So this one looks to me more muted, a lighter shade than this one, and it's not, it's the same color. And I just found that interesting. So as I said, this is going to be one of the main colors, this 352. It's here, here, and here. It's going to be in a border all the way here, and then there will be another border which is one shade lighter than this one, which is 353 is what I chose, and then another border of this 352. So I was trying to get a feel for how it was going to look as I went, and I was trying to work into the borders to see, like I said, to see if I want to make any additional changes, whether I wanted to pull a color out. I'm satisfied at this time. I've only made one color change, and that is the 353. I actually had it as a 351, which was a darker, and when I put it in with this one, it was dark shading into those, and I wanted to have that distinction between the two. I wanted them to be in contrast with one another. So I changed that color from 351, which is darker, to a 352, and then since I replaced the 351 with a 352, I pulled a 353 because it should be a lighter, and but I'm going to go with it. I'm happy with the colors. I think I'm set, and I'm going to keep going. Now, Kristine, I think she has pulled a more pinky tone, but if you've watched me for a while, I love red, but I love a more orangey red, and that seems what I'm pulling for. It seems like she likes more of a true red, and so she's trying to pull the pinker colors into it, which is great as well. So what else? What else did I do? I made a start on the new Prairie Schooler 2022. I got a good bit done on him. I'm hoping to finish him this coming week. I'm going to work on him today, and here is where he's at. Now, I didn't pay attention, and I could have stitched 2 Prairie Schoolers on this piece. It really irritates me that I did that. So it's really a waste of fabric, but I could have stitched 2. So I'm going to be more mindful when I stitch the next one that I don't waste the fabric, because we know with these I'm going to be cutting out the majority of this fabric to mount him onto a piece for an ornament. Now, I've been watching again, following Instagram hashtags, trying to find different ways, get inspiration from those of you that stitched them and posted them, so that I can choose a way to finish them for me. So this is all the years I've been stitching. This was my second Prairie Schooler. My other one is the one I stitched last year, which was 2020, and he was North Wind, where this one this year is Arctic Lights. And as I said in a previous video, the lights were done in a Krinic that was like a neon color. I'm going to change it to the colors from my youth, so I'll work on that this week. I look forward to choosing those colors. But for the most part, I do have a lot of fill-in stitches. I'll probably outline his legs and boots today, finish up the penguins, and like I said, hopefully I'm on track to make a finish next weekend on him. And then I'll probably stitch a few more before I actually do the finishing. But I'm excited about that. I look forward to having a tree, hopefully this December, up in this window during Christmas with my ornaments hung on it. So it gives me something to look forward to. So this week I picked up a piece to finish it, and I did not get it fully finished. Where did I put it? I thought it was right here. It was my Easter egg. Here it is. It's an Easter egg by Shepherd's Bush. So last night I used my light box, and I took my finished piece and laid that atop the light box, and I put a piece of parchment paper from the kitchen on top of that, and I traced out the shape because it's not a typical just oval shape. It was more short and squat. This is where I'm at. So as you can see, it is finished. There's my backing fabric. The 2 pieces are sandwiched together. I just need to do some cording. So I've got lots of random threads that I've either gifted or gotten goodie bags. And I pulled this one out, and I think this is a Hobby Lobby Artiste, a Hobby Lobby brand. And this thread is variegated with beige, like a 642 DMC brown, and a tiny bit of pink in it. So I'm going to wind this later as a cording to see if it'll match well with this. I'm thinking it's going to do good. What do you think? And then if it doesn't, then I'll just pull a pink color and I'll go with that. But this will be finished, fully finished next weekend. And then I went ahead and picked out a new one. Now this one, I finished this one up since I've been doing Flosstube, and I got it out of a Just Cross Stitch magazine, one of the Christmas editions. And I was part of a ornament giveaway, and I had Jessie Marie Does Stuff. I stitched one for me, one for her, and I finished hers into a ornament tag, or tag for presents. That's the shape. And I had everything ready for mine. I just haven't mounted it. So here is the actual card. I just took 2 pieces of, I think this is chipboard, and I covered it with the fabric. And I cut out a piece of mat board to put on top of that with the piece mounted on it. And with hers, I used my Crompadile, which is a tool you use to cut through and then make, insert grommets into this, and I used that to hang the ribbon from for the ornament. I think I need to cut this down just a tad bit much more. It's a little bit too long, and get this one done for next weekend. So hopefully both of them will be fully finished, and that's 2 more ornaments towards next year's Christmas tree. I did notice though, while I was stitching on Santa, it's just something that I do. I'm not sure anyone else does it that way, but I like to stitch my white first. Now, to me, white does not always lay nicely. It kind of bunches, it's a little uneven. I don't know whether it's to do with the way it's processed, but there's a few colors that are like that to me, but this is the main one. So when I'm using white, I stitch it first for 2 reasons. It's because if you pay attention here, you've got other colors near it. And as I stitch with it, if I stitch with it last, as I'm pulling through, it may pick up the fibers of the red or of the 758, and then it gets into the fibers of the white, and I can't get that back out. Not like a color, a dye issue. It's just a fiber issue. So I stitched the white first so that doesn't happen. Also, if I stitch that first and I'm stitching the border colors next, it allows me the ability to kind of use my needle to comb through the thread to even them out before I insert the needle back in the fabric. It kind of gives a slight tug running those other threads around it to help them lay more nicely. So it's just something I do. I don't know that anyone else does that or thinks about that. That's just where my mind went, and I thought I would share that with you if you've noticed how white picks up those fibers, and just a little tip. What else did I do? I got some charms in. This year, I've shared these a couple of years. I got the idea a few years ago from Helen D here on Flosstube. And these are 2022 charms, or 2022. And there are 4 different color shades. There's 50 charms. And at the end of every year, I'm always gifting them away because I have too many. This year, I have 50, but they're in 4 different shades. I'm gonna like that. There's a gold, there's a pink, let me see. There's a gold, there's a copper, there's an antique gold, and there's a silver. And I like that there's multiple colors. I will link that below, so if you're interested in picking up this pack, it was to me inexpensive for the amount of pieces you get, and I plan on putting them on the ornaments that I finished for this year. So there's that. I was also inspired by Michelle of the Striped Rose, who often inspires me, has inspired me many times since I've been doing Flosstube. But she showed this in one of her last videos. She has 2, part 1 and part 2, And I think she shared this in part 2, and this is, I'm not going to read that. Die Freie Tag, 1849, and this is the piece. I bought a piece of mocha, which is a good neutral. It's just a Zweigart base. It's not a hand dyed. And I love just the plain old neutrals, plus they're a little bit cheaper. So I've got this. When am I going to start it? I don't know. But I have it when I'm ready. How about that? So those are that's my haul for this week. So this year, again, has been going to be my Christmas red letter year. I am very happy with the progress I've made so far. Everything I've started, with the exceptions of the 2 this week, I have made a finish. The reason I'm mentioning this is I was sitting at breakfast this morning thinking about Jordan, thinking about May, thinking about Mania. Am I going to do something similar? I think not. I had for the past couple of years did a little Mania, which meant I was stitching small things that I knew I could finish within the month. But that means I'm putting aside the large things that I've been stitching on prior to Mania. And when I took a month off, I didn't want to go back to them come June. So because I'm doing so well and I'm sticking to my goals for this year, I don't want to interrupt that. So I'm not going to do anything akin to Mania. I'm just going to continue to work on what I'm working on. My ornaments, my red samplers, working with red threads this year. That's what I'm going to do. And those of you that are going to do Mania, that are doing something similar, I'll be cheering you on from the sidelines, and believe me, I'll be watching everything you're stitching, but I'm not going to participate this year. I really want to, like I said, stick to my goals. I'm doing well this year. I've not finishing whips, finishing new starts, and it is a wonderful feeling. That feeling gives me a boost to keep stitching. It gives me a boost to plan. And I'm just going to go for it. I know me, in the past few years, at the end of summer, I start to slow down a lot. First part of the year, I'm like a horse out of the gate at the races. I'm off stitching. But come the end of the year, I slow down a good bit. And I'm hoping I'm not going to do that this year. I want that tree in that window this coming Christmas. I want it full of my ornaments, and help hold me accountable to that. Help push me to finish those ornaments, because that's what I want to do. So again, this year is going to be all about those red threads, all about the goals, all about ornaments and the whip finishing. And I wish you much luck and on your own goals that you've set for yourself this year. So aside from that, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I will be having my belated Easter dinner tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. I'll be prepping tonight for that. And again, enjoy the spring weather, and we'll see you next weekend. Happy stitching. Bye-bye.